Every year I try and do a shoot on or around my birthday that's something fun or crazy or, expensive. I more can justify it. If it's my birthday, I'm like, oh, let's just spend the money. It's my birthday, yeah. Hold on one second, I'm on a mountaintop about to start a helicopter.
Tyler comes up with these like crazy ideas usually in the middle of the night and will come to me and be like, hey, I want to shoot a photo of you dangling a steak over a lion's mouth. Are you down? And literally every single time up until this shoot, I've been like, yeah, of course, I'd love to. But when he asked me to dangle out of a helicopter, I was like, this might be where I draw the line.
When she said to me, I don't know if I can do this, I said, great, I'll have someone else do it.
And I was like, what? I rather die than be replaced.
Knowing how competitive she is, knowing how much she loves to push herself, all I had to do was wait.
So obviously I ended up doing it, and it was amazing to have Hannah be there with me because we love to shoot together and we shoot together with Tyler all the time. Should something happen, at least we'll both go to the next dimension together.
The only information I really got about this shoot, especially initially, he messaged me and he said, are you afraid of heights? And I said, depends on how high we're speaking. And he said, helicopter. And I said, well, as long as I don't have to jump out of the helicopter, I should be okay.
Originally, it was supposed to be just me in the helicopter going to set, and everybody else was gonna drive up. I was a little nervous about this because I've only been in a helicopter a couple times. And the night before, Tyler ended up texting Mike and said, are you cool to fly in the helicopter as well?
It was weird because I woke up and I was nervous because what we were about to do was something that I had never done before. I wasn't ready for what was about to happen.
So we fly up to the location in a helicopter, and it was the most epic experience ever.
We listened to DMX on the ride to the set, and it wasn't by my request either. It was by the pilot.
All we see is Tyler running up on top of this big cliff, and he has his phone out, and he's just filming us land. And it's just me and Mike hovering in the helicopter slowly to the ground as DMX is playing.
And I just thought to myself, this is just a different life that I have yet to experience, and people experience this every day.
The day of the shoot, we get there and I'm super nervous, and Tyler's like, okay, you're up first, let's go. I get in the helicopter. I'm pretty much just constantly praying inside of my head until we take off. I'm just like, please, like, if there's anyone out there, just don't let me die.
It was crazy how almost everything fell into place. Like, there was a huge ass rock that it just worked out that you were able to stand on top of.
Perfectly between two trees is this like epic mountain vista. And now, if I had gone with a bigger helicopter, the helicopter would not have fit between the two trees. So there we are, Allie takes off. They come around, Zeus puts it right between the two trees, and within about 10 feet on either side, you can just see these trees just blowing in the wind. And I remember the first moment where I looked at Zeus and I went, and he took the helicopter just a foot. And I was like, oh God, this is gonna be so easy. And then the problem wasn't controlling the helicopter. The problem was being able to tell Allie what to do, or Hannah what to do, because then you realize they can't hear you.
I couldn't hear a thing when I was up there. All I could hear was like a propeller a couple inches from my head.
They're freezing cold. It was very cold this day.
It was pretty cold. I mean, I was in a hoodie, so I was very blessed. Allie was in lingerie, so I mean, they kind of had it worse than we did.
They had it way worse. Of course, 3 days before it was 80 degrees, not a cloud in the sky. This day, it was about 55 degrees. And then there was just clouds, little rain was coming in. But it gave perspective for the helicopter.
So it's funny because Allie was kind of in the same ball game as me mentally when it came to getting on the helicopter beforehand. So, we had the same thoughts about the situation. She went up terrified, and then she came down wanting to do it again.
I knew she was going to come back down and say she loved it because I love helicopters. I grew up in helicopters. Fortunately for me, I started going in helicopters when I was a little kid, and she had not until she was, in her 20s. So there's this psychological fear. You see helicopter crashes, you hear things, whatever. But once you're in one, and you're in one with an incredible pilot, and you're in a really incredible helicopter, I knew she would love it.
Pretty much within like a second of lifting off of the ground, I was like, this is the most amazing thing ever. I love helicopters. I need to buy a helicopter. I need to get
my pilot's license. I want to go upside down. I want to do more. And
She went up terrified, and then she came down wanting to do it again.
that was what I expected would happen. I would have been absolutely shocked if she'd have been like, I hated that and I don't want to do it again.
I just told him, I was like, I want to go upside down. I want to flip around. Let's keep going.
You get your jacket on. I took a digital test shot just to get a reference.
Wow.
Oh yeah, wait till you see the film.
Guys, I want to do it again.
You're going to.
It was so fun.
Tyler said to me before I took off, Hannah, this is the coldest you're ever going to be in your life. And I usually take Tyler verbatim, but I was like, I don't know, I've been pretty cold. It was the coldest I've ever been in my entire life.
It's her first time in a helicopter, and she goes up fully naked with a Catwoman mask on. I thought it was fucking badass. I thought it was cool as shit. First of all, she's never been in a helicopter. Second of all, she's going in a helicopter naked. Third of all, she doesn't even know the guy driving the helicopter.
In the midst of Tyler telling me how bloody freezing I was going to be, he said, you may be cold today, but in 20 years you won't remember how cold you were. And I think that is a very true statement, because I think back on every moment that I was even just a tiny bit uncomfortable in Tyler's shoots, that's not even there when I look at that photo. It's more so just awe and amazement over the fact that we did that.
We're on this rock, and Tyler gets a phone call. I'm shooting him, and he picks up the phone call, and he just answers so casually. He was just like, hey, what's going on?
Hold on 1 second, I'm on a mountaintop about to start a helicopter. What'd you say?
Did I take a phone call maybe while that was happening? Allegedly? Yeah, I took a phone call. It was the lab calling. They were calling about something else we'd shot, so I just wanted to make sure that everything was fine. It's a multi-level business we're running here. That might be the craziest thing, but we got all kinds of moving parts. 25 galleries, multiple countries. The lab needed an answer. I got him the answer.
I'm going to send you a picture of my current view, and you're going to laugh your ass off. But yeah, I'll call you when I'm done here. Done deal. Okay. I'm good to go.
I mean, the whole experience itself is like, I never thought that I'd be able to experience something so crazy. Hannah's in the helicopter. She's fully naked. I mean, even the pilot was like, he couldn't believe it. I think the funniest part about all of it was the way that Tyler was able to direct Hannah and Allie. And you could tell that there's like this almost like symbiotic relationship between the three of them. They just know. They know what Tyler wants, because they've shot with him so many times, and you could tell, even if it's your first time seeing the three of them shoot together, you can tell that they have experienced so much. Tyler nonchalantly is able to just move his hand ever so slightly, and then Hannah knows exactly what he wants.
They're the moments, I think, as talent or as a subject, you go, oh my God, look what I'm doing.
Allie's able to signal to him, like, do you like cigarette? And he's just, no.
And she's like, and then she puts it away, and then we're shooting, and then a little while later she goes, and I'm like, and then she brings it back. It was just the weirdest thing, because the way I was directing her, I'd be like, chin up, this, that. Like I'm like whispering to myself, like in this weird way, but somehow she managed to know every single thing that I wanted her to do.
I wonder,
It was a surreal experience.
Wasn't it fun?
how many people do you think can say the first time they were in a helicopter they were naked? Your goosebumps are like this big right now.
It was
Yeah.
unnaturally cold in the helicopter. And I'd come down after my first round up there, and Allie had gone up, and mind you, she's in heels and lingerie, and she's doing these beautiful poses at the side of it, and all of a sudden she tucks her head back in, she starts massaging her calf.
You got a fucking leg cramp right now? Seriously? A fucking leg cramp?
So my leg instantly started cramping to the point that like I thought I was going to die. It was so painful.
Because of the angle of which you had to be at the edge of the helicopter. I could understand where it was coming from, but it was just hilarious to see this beautifully, lingerie-clad woman massaging a calf in a helicopter.
Whenever I'm shooting, I kind of make up a false narrative inside my mind of like a story of whatever I'm doing, because it just makes it more fun, because everyone else is like running around trying to change film, get the shot, but I'm usually just like either sitting there, standing there, or hanging out of the side of something. So to take up my time, I really like committed to this idea that I was a Russian spy. So when Tyler had them kind of essentially flip the helicopter sideways and fly off with me, it really just solidified that yes, I am a Russian spy. We almost got shot at. We had to leave quickly. For me, it was like the greatest part of the entire day. I was so obsessed with it. And I wanted, honestly, to just tell the pilot, like, let's just leave them and they can pack up and we're just gonna fly around for a little bit. But I loved it. I thought it was amazing.
And did you know it was coming?
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I could see everything everyone was doing down below. Everyone thought they were sneaky down there, but I understood everything that was going on. I know your little hand signals. I know your little gestures. I was like, okay, here we go. The funny thing is, the one thing I did not understand with the whole sideways turn was that Tyler motioned for me to hold on. And see, I thought he meant hold on to the Birkin bag because it's so expensive, not hold on for your life. So I didn't grab onto anything. I was just like, yeah, I got the bag. And then all of a sudden we were sideways.
The whole experience was like, I mean, you would think helicopter. You would think crazy, fast-paced, which it was. But at the same time, it was organized. It was coordinated. It was like to the T. He knew what he was doing.
Tyler had asked me to jump in the front of the helicopter with a pilot named Zeus. And the last shot was me kind of flying over Ali as she was walking on the ground. And you could tell from my naked escapades out the side of the helicopter that he knew what he was doing. But I think it was only really when you were in the front and you saw how he was maneuvering it and you felt that kind of, is it G-force that pulls you around as we went down, and we were this bloody close to the tree. I've just never seen someone handle a piece of machinery like that. And to be in the front of it, God, it was exhilarating. And mind you, I'm in lingerie and heels too, so there's like a little bit more of a feeling about it. It was great. I loved it.
We didn't shoot that many rolls of film. I think we probably shot, 6 rolls of film for the whole day. So when I get the film developed, I go into the lab, I'm looking at it on the light table, and it's so funny because I think we did the flyover just 2 or 3 times, and I ended up getting the perfect shot on the Hasselblad. Again, the whole flyover is just one click. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, great, like that was the first one I saw on the light table. So I'm like, great, well, we got that photo. I mean, it was so wild because I've never had that much time to shoot something like this. So now I'm able to really get into the, oh, well, her hand's tilted this way a little bit, or her foot's here a little bit, or whatever. So I'm going through these rolls of film, and it was just astonishing to me how many options I had. Because normally you have like one, you're like, this is the photo, that's it. It came out exactly how I imagined it to be, except for I think the color might have even been a little bit better. And then there's the photograph of Hannah where and it's funny because I shot that on the Mamiya 7, which is like a rangefinder 6.7 camera. But it's this beautiful black and white. She has this Catwoman mask on. And, it has a very different kind of mountain range under it. And that camera just gave it a different feeling than what I'd done on the Hasselblad. Obviously, we have the flyover. And then there's one other that I really love, which I ended up taking on the 35, which is that vertical. I can already envision these framed up on the wall, and I can already imagine the questions people are going to be asking me. I already know the first question people are going to ask is, were you in another helicopter taking this picture? Because it looks impossible. When I was poor, these are the things I would imagine doing. These are the things I was like, if I ever become successful, this is the type of work that I want to make.
Like, what we're doing is crazy, but it's a lot of fun. It's just like, people are like, you're getting in a helicopter and you're doing this, and you show them the photo and they're like, wow, this is this is real? And it's like, yeah, it is real.
I can't even pick out one moment that meant more than the others. I mean, we flew to set in a helicopter to like a location on top of a mountain that's only accessible by helicopter or an off-road vehicle. And all of this was for the purpose of a photograph.